There you
Got some
go.
lemonade.
Is that a glass bottle?
Yeah, I wanted to let people know that it was lemonade because I didn't want them to think
You
that I
had
was
to
just.
explain.
Yeah, I wanted to take a drink of lemonade, but I didn't want to like just pull up a bottle that looks like this. I don't want no free advertising, but
I
it's.
mean, you know what? Let it rip. Here we
I don't
go.
have to tell you how. I don't have to tell you how good it is. So it's not free advertising. I'm just saying what I have. Spreacher, craft original lemonade, sparkling.
Is it pretty good?
I
It's all right. Is it sour?
can't say anything. It's free advertising if I say anything.
Well, I mean, it's not an advertisement if you slander it.
I didn't. I gave a in between response. It was.
It's just it's a 5 out of 10 then.
I'm gonna say it's pretty good.
It's all right. There you go. I wasn't trying to bait you into that. I just was trying to decipher. Welcome back to the Night Pitch, episode 18. Justin Wick, Evan Johnson, and we hope that the faithful crew tuning into the Night Pitch is just as happy as we are that the baseball season has commenced. We are returning to standard operations, and we appreciate all of the love as we continue to put episodes out. We've been talking a lot about statistical advances, and this is something that, now that we're starting to creep upon, we've got a pretty good sample size of stats in the baseball season. Actually, no, we don't, but it's bigger than it's ever been before. So we got we have a pretty good sample size as opposed to where it was about a week ago that we could actually kind of maybe start to track a little bit of patterns. I can actually go on to Baseball Savant and start actually connecting the dots rather than just looking at like a scatter plot right now. But we are, I want to say about 2 weeks. Opening day was about 2 weeks ago. Is that right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. It's good when you lose track of time. That means there's been plenty of games.
Yeah.
Right there.
There's a lot of games. There's a lot.
I want to preface as far as now that we can actually start drawing some patterns and we can recognize, pitchers, where is their velocity at compared to the previous year? Did somebody add a new pitch? How is that pitch competing? It got me thinking about you're starting to see some statistical leaders in certain categories that maybe you didn't necessarily think they were going to lead in those categories. So that got me on a wild conversation of me just alone in the car the other day thinking, if I could lead the league in any one stat, like if I could be the league leader in one single stat that would like make me feel really good, what stat would I pick? And I've thought about this. I mean, I hate to admit this, but when I have had trouble falling asleep the last couple of days, I've started thinking, well, like ERA would be pretty cool. Like WHIP would be a good one too. But like, I also don't need to pigeonhole myself as a pitcher. And then how else can I frame this? So I said strikeouts just because if you're leading the league in punchies, that means you're getting a pretty good amount of innings pitched. And that means like maybe you're not giving up the fewest runs, but you're a dog out there. So I just selfishly kind of said strikeouts, but then I was like, maybe that actually isn't the best one to be picking.
I think my first thought is strikeouts, but if you had to pick another one, it'd be like a Ks per nine.
Yeah,
right. Which kind of
goes. I mean, that goes
hand in hand, but like or strikeout percentage. But like ERA would be cool, but it would depend on how low and how many innings you threw. Like if you threw a ton of innings and you're at like a 0.8,
yeah,
that'd be pretty cool. But if
that's an interesting point. Like, I mean, you mentioned innings pitched. I feel like innings pitched alone could be a pretty because I mean, they're not going to roll you out there if you're a deficient pitcher. Like if you're leading the league in innings, that means you're a dog too. So I mean, I would still probably pick Ks because of the accumulation of. I like what you say about Ks per nine, but I think about I would want to pick something that would show that I'm on the field a lot. So I wouldn't necessarily want it so much to be an average. I would want it to be more of like an aggregate statistic. But I mean, I like your rationale. I feel like that's pretty justifiable too, though.
I always thought it was pretty cool. Guys who steal a lot of bags. I like
Yeah.
that too.
And you got to get on base in order to do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a pretty
Yeah.
when you have the power to change the game in that capacity, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Like the guy for the Marlins. Gosh, can't remember his name.
Luis Ariz, quick
Yeah.
leadoff hitter. Yeah.
Just hitting for average right now.
Yeah. I mean, batting average would be a pretty good one too, honestly.
Now,
Like, no matter what people want to say about that being an outdated statistic, I mean, it still carries value of if you're getting that many hits on that much of a percentage basis.
If you're hitting 400, then it's not as much luck, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're hitting 400 throughout the whole year, that's like, okay, that's not a luck thing anymore. Might be a little bit of luck.
This guy's got some stuff going on.
Can't be all luck. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's fascinating to me to take a look, and this is something, I mean, kind of on a different statistical dive, but when you realize that there are some statistics that maybe don't carry the historical weight now as opposed to when they did, like, I mean, batting average in the 1800s was, I mean, yeah, you're either hitting a single or you're getting out. That's pretty much the way it is. But, I mean, as you certainly see the rise of power hitting, these statistics change. And this was the next step that I thought about of based on the era that you play in. Like, I think it's really easy for us to say strikeouts right now. But, like, when you rewind back to the early 20th century when people were throwing complete games of back-to-back legs of a doubleheader and Cy Young's pushing 500 wins and this kind of stuff, it got me realizing that these statistical things that we really notice, these stats don't mean the same today as they did previously, and the game, the way that it continues to change, and this was kind of the scary reality of when you just recognize the impermanence that exists within the game of baseball of, you know, the statistics that we really look at now. Well, if you fast forward 50 years, what are the statistics that we're going to look at when the game continues to evolve? Because those stats that we were looking at 50 years ago, they painted a much different picture in large part because, I mean, the game was much different as well.
Yeah. You know what I always thought was weird was for how short of a time for us, like you said, people like how stats are changing, how short of a time it was for us where ERA mattered. Like for when we were born. Because like as soon as we started to worry about it, and as soon as we started to really look at it, that's when it went away. So like for a very short period of time, we were actually focused on that kind of thing. And like,
well, that's amazing.
Now you paint the picture of baseball with like, okay, strikeouts to walks, because guys are either doing that or they're hitting a double or a home run, minus one or two guys. So it's power baseball.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's amazing too, like when you take a look at just how much the actual tangible metrics of like performance-based metrics as opposed to just like, I'm thinking the StatCast era that we live in of how easy it is to collect batted ball data at higher levels within the game. And I get that it isn't as easy at younger levels, but this is something that I always was curious about, the attainability of how easy is it to publish the numbers. And this is something that we've got a Power Minute video talking about saves, and the save was not adopted by Major League Baseball until I believe the 1970s. I should know this because I put a whole video together of it, but I don't remember what year it was off the top of my head. But anyways, it was talking about the save was created by a sports writer that wrote for the Chicago Sun-Times, and Major League Baseball in the 1970s adopted this as a live statistic. So it's when you recognize how stats catch on and what it takes in order for these to actually maintain a presence. Well, you need to develop the following of, one, they're very easy to understand, and two, they're able to be adopted at a high level. So this was Henry Chadwick, was a sports writer in the 1800s that invented batting average, and that was where it was first published. And when you look at how easy it is to comprehend batting average and the way that the game was in the 1800s, well, that's a perfect metric. I mean, that sounds fantastic, but like, I think that is interesting when you really see that we're entering a new era of batted ball data and pitch tracking out of the hand, and you're able to look at, I mean, a whole spreadsheet of the way that these numbers really compile as it involves just strictly performance-based measures. And like, I would go as far as to say that, you know, the conventional wisdom that we've really generated, and then the ideas that some people have insisted on for years, well, if we don't evolve past the 100-year mark, how far are we going to continue to go? Which, I mean, there's a reason batting average is still the leading number on the batting slash, and it's just because it's been universally accepted as the one measure. But I think that's what's pretty cool, and I can't help but wonder, how long is it going to take until there are new universal measures to where people's understanding is just completely uprooted from the traditional norms and adopted to ultimately where the game is today.
Yeah, I mean, it's having all that data, and you just said a lot right there. So just kind of.
I know. I was going to say, I did not set you up for that at all. Goodness gracious!
But I will say that, like, part of the thing with new data now is that we have it, and where it's starting to actually take an effect on how we play is understanding how to interpret that into meaningful results. So like all these orgs have all this data from all these tools that can capture so much information on the field. And now it's about, and this has been going on, but now it's going on for people in the public too, where they're starting to be able to show you how that's applied from a statistical standpoint and why it's good if so-and-so can, you know, average an exit velo of so high, or this guy can average this much break on a pitch, or whatever. But before we had it, I'd have had it. Now that we're figuring out how to apply it, like batting average, ERA, saves, we figure out how to apply those, then they kind of set in and become statistics, right?
Yeah.
And for us,
the way that you're able to put it together, sure.
And for us, it's easier to do that than some players from older generations, because they had already had those statistics applied. They knew how to apply them. That's how they evaluated players. Now that it flips and it changes, it's harder for them to adjust. Whereas for us, like I said, those statistics only mattered for a short period of time before things started to change.
Yeah,
I wonder if we're going to even out at the baseball we're at now, or if it's going to take another hard left turn or something.
That's true. And
go to a different kind of style of play. Because I would be very curious to see a team try to play 80s baseball in today's MLB. But with today's pitchers.
Yeah.
Because that's, to me, that's, you're not, if you put 80s pitchers in the game today, it's not going to be much of a contest for guys like Mike Trout. But some people would disagree with that, but that's all I'm saying. So
yeah,
but
well, that's amazing. Oh, go ahead.
No, that was pretty much it. I was just gonna conclude.
No, you're good. I think it's interesting when you really recognize that when somebody's been in the game for a very long time, and as you establish your understanding of the way that things go, and this is all that I know. And when you see the game start to change, I think sometimes it's difficult to let go of the understanding that you've established for so many years, when maybe there's a little bit more of an efficient or a little bit different way of coming to the answers that you've looked for. So I think about, there's a book that was published, Billy Ripken, he was with the Orioles quite a while, Cal's brother. He's on MLB Network now. He published a book called State of Play, and he released this a couple years ago. And it was very interesting to hear, because I would say he identifies more kind of on the old school measure of things, and he's trying to justify these are why the roots of the game are still very valuable. And he wrote a whole section about pitcher wins, which I personally am very anti-pitcher win as a stat, which, I mean, I don't need to get into the weeds there, but he wrote about it, talking about why there's still some value in pitcher wins. And he's talking about, this justifies, maybe it isn't the cleanest stat. There's a lot of intricate noise that goes into it, but especially in today's game, this proves that you're powering your way through 5 innings. If you need to continue to push for your team in order to make a stand on something, that this could carry some serious weight. So if you look at it on an individual basis of maybe you're going to get a win that you're up by 7 runs and they pull you in the 5th and it's not as intricate, but on a case-by-case study, there's a good chance if you're a starter getting these things that there's probably a good percentage of those wins that you really had to go out and earn. So I don't fundamentally agree with all facets of pitcher wins. I want to just go on the record by saying this, but I think as far as another more modern angle of this is if you look at only spin rate, and I remember when radar guns first came out, with spin rate incorporated into it, I believe Stalker actually made a gun that would show miles per hour and then RPMs right underneath it. And when all you had was spin rate, like I remember this was about 5 or 6 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, when everybody was fascinating over this one single number. And then I was thinking to myself, well, it's not about if you have a good, I mean, you just don't want to have an average number. If it's above or below, that means there's some variance that can be very difficult to pick up in that kind of capacity. But I can't. I'm sure I'm probably not the only one that thinks this. That spin rate in isolation can be a very incomplete picture if you try to analyze that.
Probably the most incomplete picture. I'll say that right now. Like, if you go and look, the classic. Okay. The classic comment from somebody who doesn't understand how to read pitch data is to comment first on spin rate.
Yes, that's very true.
Because it doesn't matter. For example, I could throw 2 fastballs, and the data with those 2 fastballs that makes a difference in terms of slugging or like hard contact is velocity, release point, and movement. Now, spin rate is a means to getting movement. So you could have 2 guys throw the exact same shape from the hand to the location, same velo, same movement, the same exact ball flight the whole way there, and have 2 completely different spin rates. So looking at that number, and just that number, makes no sense. No sense at all. And like, there's no correlation to a pitch that spins more. Okay, let me say it this way, just to make sure that it's not, that there's not a bunch of holes poked in it.
Oh, I love this. I'm so here for this.
Because if the pitch has the same shape, there's no correlation in difference in spin rate to more whiffs. Now, there will be a correlation in difference between, or there will be a difference between slugging on 2 different spin rates that are far apart, because the pitch that's 2600 is likely to have more movement than a pitch with 2200, but that doesn't mean the 2200 pitch is moving less necessarily. So you look at it and you can get it, like somebody says, oh, he spun it at 26, he's spinning his slider at 2800. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's not aligned right. You don't know how much it's actually moving. But since a one at 2800 is likely going to move more, suddenly you draw that connection of like, oh, it must be better.
Yes, and I can see how the perception can be so molded into like creating this type of mentality. And I think this is what really frustrates me in isolation of, all right, well, you could throw a 3,000 RPM fastball, but if you have like 70% spin efficiency, that means only 70% of that 3,000 is contributing to movement. And at that point, it's just not an efficient type of, I mean, it's not flying to the ball the way, it's not flying to home plate the way.
Well, in which way is it moving?
How is it moving? True.
How is it moving in relation to how you threw, into where you threw it? Like where you released it? Because if you're a guy that throws with 20-some vert, if you're a guy that throws with a lot of ride, you're going to be better from a lower slot.
Yeah.
It's just how that works. Unless you're way, way up here. Right? So like it never paints a complete picture, and it always makes me so mad. People start thinking like, oh, yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. I think my spin rate was like 2,700 or something. I'm like, that tells me nothing. It tells me zero information about how this pitch actually is. So you can throw it, you can spin it as much as you want. It could be 0-0. Boom. Could be gyro.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
But 0-0 for people who don't, I'm meaning like break on a vertical plane and break on a horizontal plane. You can spin it as hard as you want. There. Could be 0. It could be 0.
It just caught on, and this was something that I was thinking about of the videos that we've put together on the YouTube channel of the power minutes or the extended cuts. It's been my fear that sometimes it's like, all right, we got to dumb this down to where even the casual baseball fan could understand. And this is something that, I mean, the reason that I think this conversation is so interesting is because sometimes the statistics that catch on the most are just the simplest to comprehend. Like, everybody can look at home runs and say he hit a ton of home runs. Or, I mean, batting average is the classic example on this. And I think I remain convinced that the reason pitcher wins caught on, just as the way that spin rate caught on in the early eras of when that was first really pioneered, was just because it was so simple to get it. And I think that, I mean, this translates to so many other things. I mean, we'll put together something that I think is an absolute masterpiece on Instagram, and then somebody that just like falls off a skateboard or something gets millions of views, which I get it. I mean, it's easy to get it, and that's functionally the way that this works. But I think that, part of the reason that, and I think this transcends just like statistical analysis, and I think this kind of with baseball and just the high volume of games, it's a whole lot easier to turn on just a TV panel discussion of sports and have somebody talk about, is LeBron or Michael the best basketball player ever? Well, that doesn't take a deep, it's such a tired discussion. Whereas if you're trying to have like relevant baseball discussion, you need to tune in over and over again. If there's a team playing 6, 7, maybe with a doubleheader, 8 games a week, and in order to stay on top of the conversation, it is so hard to do by comparison of, yeah, I'm going to tune in on Sunday and watch my football team, and then we're going to talk about it for the next 6 days, and then they're going to play again. And then I'm like, this is the cool part about this, is because I'm really at like this interesting fork of, do you dumb it down to help grow the game in that captivating fashion, or do you remain really complex to help grow the game the way that it truly is on an intricate level? So, part of the thing with the show that I've tried to do is, how do we integrate both of them and make sure that everybody feels like this is a welcoming community and really continue to take this into context? But the one thing that I will stand behind is, if you dumb something down so far to where it sacrifices the integrity of what actually is going on, that's the one thing that I do want to make sure, is that sometimes it does take at least a little bit of tenacity to understand a new statistic, to dive into the intricacies of the way that the game really balances together, and to recognize that even within there, like, it's so hard to get so many perspectives on the same page within the game of baseball. It really is.
Yeah. I think that you shouldn't be dumbing it down, but also, like, people don't need to know unless they want to know.
That's true.
The problem is when people feel like they do know when they don't know.
Yeah.
Like, then you end up trying to dumb it down for them so they can understand why it's wrong, but then they don't understand it because they're saying like, I am right in this. There's a lot of people that do that with with data stuff being constantly plugged into baseball. But I do want to backpedal a little bit and kind of go off of something I was thinking about earlier on in this conversation. And it's kind of like the purpose of data within baseball is to, the purpose of all of it right now, it's not stupid, because for people who like the game that are from older generation might be like, oh, it's dumb, we don't need all these numbers, what happened to like just getting the guy out? Well, that's valid, but so is data. It's like you're using data to try to take as much luck out of the equation as possible and say, how good is this guy really? That's what data is trying to do. Now, if you only play data, though, if you only factored that into what you're trying to do, and you never played to try to play for luck, then you'd be a 500 team.
Yeah.
Because you're only playing one side of the coin. Like, gosh, for example, like, let's say you have a pitcher whose data just says that, he's not likely to get very many outs. He's not likely to, like, his hitters that he faces aren't likely to have a low slugging percentage. And then he rolls out there and he starts pitching, and he's pitching really well. And you're saying, yeah, data doesn't check out with how he's pitching, right? So we're not going to go to him in this particular situation. Now, an old school manager would be like, no, for some reason he keeps getting outs, so let's run him back out there.
Yeah.
Because as much information as data shows, when you talk to other players, they still tell you things that data will never tell you. Be like, oh man, that was it. The way he throws, it's hard to see, right? Or the way that this pitch comes out of the hand complements this other pitch really well, which data says doesn't exist. But like to hitters, those things can exist. Or like, so if you only play the side of the coin that says like, oh, this person, according to data, isn't likely to get outs, then you'll never get the luck side.
Yeah.
Because you'll never play luck. you'll always play the data. Same with the other way around. If you just try to play to get lucky, you'll never be able to play the odds at the same time. So it takes a balance of both. So for older people, for older generations who don't like where the game is going now, trust me, if there's a team that gets too involved in data and data is the only thing that they're looking for, then they're likely to be 500 for a very long time. Same with the other side of the coin. If your team's trying to play a combo of both, they're probably going to be successful. So at some point, things are going to even out and balance to where teams are going to be, teams who find that right balance are going to be able to be very good.
You know, I think it's really cool that even amidst how much the game has progressed, we still have so much room for the human effect of this. You're never going to be able to create a comprehensive picture just by looking at what very one-dimensional level of understanding. And I think that it's cool to see where the level of investment truly comes in. Because, I mean, case in point, the Arizona Diamondbacks were not supposed to beat the Los Angeles Dodgers in the playoffs last year. And I get that, you know, just the inherent nature of variability that does exist within the game itself is, I mean, it's the best team doesn't always win all the time. And that's the reason that the season is as long as it is because we need a bigger sample to try to get rid of all of the variance that might otherwise water it down. But it makes me optimistic as far as the sake of growing the game is because I feel like this makes sure that there's always something for everybody. And this is something that I think is really cool, especially for younger generations that are growing up on these numbers as opposed to older generations that maybe strategically stand firm on what they know, is that we're still talking about the same level of the game. We're still talking about an even playing field for everybody to enjoy. And I think it's just, I mean, it's cool to be able to use this platform to be able to celebrate whatever perspective that you might possibly consider yourself falling into, because we want to grow this game for everybody right there, man. That's how we get it rolling.
Yeah.
Before we close, is there one stat that you would not want to lead the league in? I'm going blown saves.
I'm going batting average against.
Like, yeah, that's
because you could walk a couple guys and you could have two walks to 3 strikeouts or whatever it is, whatever the equation is, and still throw up zeros.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I just don't want to get rocked. That's all.
My man's just getting shelled. You know what? I actually probably would second that. I was just thinking, what were the other ones? Blown saves, but if you're blowing saves, that means you were in position to be a closer. So
Correct.
That's like the whole man in the arena discussion of at least you were in that position. Whip, but at the same time, you could just be a dog that just snakes your way out of stuff with runners on.
Yeah.
Just a dude, you got like a 3 whip and you got like a 2.5 ERA, just absolutely ridiculous.
I think it's definitely batting average against, because if you look
I think that's the way to go.
If you're batting average against you, or just like, is there a metric for like slugging against?
I mean, I'm sure there is. Well, I mean, I guess you can reverse engineer like OPS plus or something.
Yeah. That one would be the worst. you just throw meatballs in there constantly.
Just gets absolutely shelled.
I mean, that's
you would need to be qualified. You would need to pitch enough innings in order to reach the qualification in order to get it.
Yeah, for a hitter, for sure, strikeouts. I mean, I don't think there's.
I guess that's interesting.
For a hitter, though, I would probably not want to lead the league in errors. That's bad.
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned strikeouts. Sometimes I'm fascinated to see some of the more established power hitters that lead the league in Ks, which maybe you sacrifice the Ks for a lot of home runs. Like if you're a contact hitter, you're probably not K'ing a whole lot, but the risk versus reward of, I mean, like Reggie Jackson led the league in strikeouts a few times when he was putting some balls deep. So, I mean, that's, I agree, like from a contextual basis, just because that's not a fun way to go down when you're a hitter. Damn.
Well, the thing that bugs me sometimes is, and this is maybe a little bit side railroad track before we go to the second half, but I'll hear people comment on newer players in the league. I'll hear older people comment on newer players in the league who strike out a lot but hit a lot of bombs. And they'll be like, "How do you strike out that much? Like, how do you strike out that much?" I'm like, he's not dumb. Like, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Like, he's there for a reason. Like, he understands that I'm going to try to hit home runs because that's my job, is to go up there and with one swing of the bat, put a number up on that scoreboard. Like, he's not dumb. He knows that he strikes out a lot. He's not stupid. Like, but there's a give and take. If he hits enough home runs for how many and helps him win enough games for how many strikeouts. And that's one thing WAR is something I'll never understand.
Like, we could go an entirely different angle there. You could go Fangraphs WAR versus Baseball Reference WAR too. We're not going to explain that in the next 20 minutes. I'll tell you that much right there, man. All right, I'm going to try to marinate on what hitting statistic I wouldn't want to lead the league in. So until then, we're going to take a short break. Once again, this is Evan Johnson alongside Justin Wick. Night Pitch episode 18. Thank you guys very much for tuning back in. We'll be right back. Known to the coveted many as the Immaculate Grid. We're here to do one live. For home runs, Jimmy Fox would be a candidate.
Jimmy Fox. Leave it to Wick to know these names. All right, we're going to send it on 300 average.
If this is wrong, I'm going to cry.
All right, 3% to the Pirates and the Mariners. Oh my
goodness. I don't think Andres Munoz was. I don't know why that name came to mind. I don't think that's one.
That's a good one, though. I'm trying to figure out where he started. I like the Munoz choice. For some reason, I'm also doubting it a lot.
Do you want to put Tommy Malone in on the top left? We can get that one done.
I'm just going to tell the viewers right now, I want to take a chance on Tommy Malone. Come on. Be Tommy Malone. Yes!
No, we don't actually 1%.
Know. We have one guess left, one box left. We need a for sure choice. I would be comfortable going with Munoz.
I mean, hey, I'm not really comfortable, but I'm not going to stop you. Munoz is the only one that I got.
He's only been playing since 2019, so it's pretty short, but in my mind, my memory says Padres. Or sorry, my memory says Pirates. Actually, no. It does say Padres. Hey, he was Padres. He's for sure Padres.
All right, we're going to have to do LaTroy Hawkins then.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Night Pitch episode 18, back in business for round 2 of the episode. We hope everybody's enjoying the season. Evan, just real casual, how are you enjoying the month of April here?
Good. Getting ready to play. Got some lemonade.
Do you really? Is that some good stuff? Is that a glass bottle?
Yeah, I wanted to let people know that it was lemonade because I didn't want them to think.
You had to explain.
Yeah, I wanted to take a drink of lemonade, but I didn't want to just pull up a bottle that looks like this. Looks like a.
That was so pure.
Mike's Hard or something.
That's. I mean, is there alcohol in it or no?
No, it's just
straight up.
I don't know, no free advertising. But it's.
I mean, let it rip. Here we go.
I don't have to tell you how good it is. That's the thing. So it's not free advertising. I'm just saying what I have. Spreacher, craft original lemonade, sparkling.
Is it pretty good? It's all right. Is it sour?
I can't say anything. It's free advertising if I say anything.
Well, I mean, it's not an advertisement if you slander it.
I didn't. I gave a in between response. It was.
It's a 5 out of 10 then. Was that it's average or I'm deferring my comment?
I'm gonna say it's pretty good.
It's all right. There you go. I wasn't trying to bait you into that. I just was trying to decipher. That's pretty good. My favorite is too, and this is like when you're on a hot summer day and you see people just drinking straight Gatorade. This is actually a pretty good story. There's a kid that I played in a high school tournament with, and we were playing in really thick humidity in the middle of Oklahoma, and he's pitching, and everybody's talking about Pedialyte. Like, that's a pretty good little resource to go upon. I mean, if you haven't got yourself, you got to sip it though. That's the key. Is if you pound Pedialyte. Yeah. So this kid is going out there. I don't remember the exact story, but I think that he thought like he needed to get a lot of it in his system. It's the top of the first inning. He goes out to pitch. I'm pretty sure 101 degrees outside with like 80% humidity. And you see him just start pacing around, and everybody in the dugout knew why, but nobody in the stands knew. So finally threw up on the back of the mound, and the entire dugout just like nobody in the stands like, what is wrong with you people? But like he could like, I don't know if it was like before the game, right before he took the mound, he's like, I shouldn't have had that much. Like, you'll be all right. Like, yeah, just take a little bit of water too. But no,
Gatorade is one of those things. Gatorade is one of those things where like I never think about it, but then sometimes like I'll randomly have an opportunity to have a cold Gatorade and it's hot, and like I've been out and I'm like, oh yeah, and I'll just hammer a Gatorade. But I'd never stop and like buy a Gatorade. Never.
Yeah, that's true. I can't remember the last time I ever I'm a pretty much a straight up water guy. Look at this. This all started all because you held up your lemonade bottle right there, man. Good times.
So half number 2.
Yeah, you said you had a surprise for me. You want to just let us know?
Yes, I will. You are gonna play Guess That MiLB Team.
Good Lord, Columbia Fireflies.
Oh,
there we go.
That was a quick one off the rip. You already got it.
How long have you been milking this? You didn't even tell me?
No, I wasn't going to tell you. I was going to tell you right.
Oh, this is so organic. Oh, I'm flattered.
So now you get 1 point for the city, 2 points.
Oh, okay.
Or one point for the city, 1 point for the mascot. So you got 2 points.
How much time did you put into this setup, by the way? Like, I mean, for the record, anybody tuning in, I had no clue this was going on. I just knew there was going to be a surprise.
It took me probably 15 minutes.
All right, okay. All right, good.
But either way, I would have spent more time on it.
I was going to say, I was going to feel guilty if you, like, poured a ton of time into this.
Okay, so that means you have 2 points. And
well done.
You are correct. That is the Columbia Firefox.
Oh, look at this. Man, production quality through the roof right now.
There's 10 total.
All right.
So your goal is to get
20 points max. Okay.
20 points max. What's your goal you think you can get? I tried to make them a little bit difficult. But I know you know a lot of teams.
I think 16 is probably pretty attainable. So 8 out of 10. I think I could get 16. Let's put it at 15 and a half. Above's good, below's bad.
Okay, that's the over-under, 15 and a half?
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable.
Okay. Now,
all right, here we go.
After 10, I did put a bonus in there.
Man.
It's a minor league team that's no longer a minor league team. So
this is good. All right, here we go.
Which that's a clue. That's a clue enough, so you should be able to get the bonus. So just know you have a bonus.
Oh my goodness, I am so here for this. That is the Biloxi Shuckers, the AA affiliate of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Man, dude, you're good.
I have a decent reason for knowing this, though. All right, so I grew up in Colorado, and I was closer to Denver than I was Colorado Springs, but AAA, the Colorado Springs Sky Sox, they were with the Brewers before. They don't exist anymore. The Sky Sox don't. But the AA affiliate beneath Colorado Springs was Biloxi. So that's for the main reason why I knew that one.
Mm-hmm. I tried to pick tough ones. I didn't know that you were so close to that one. But
yeah, that's a good hat.
Never mind. You got 4 points. You got 4 points.
That's a good hat, the Biloxi one. I love that. Their ballpark's interesting too. They've got like the big like skyrise casino resorts in Mississippi that are right next to the ballpark, and it's like kind of on the shores a little bit. That's actually I haven't been and I haven't heard a ton about it, but I think that's a pretty good looking park.
So this is just a testament to how much Wick knows about baseball. He doesn't only know what this is, but he also knows everything about the ballpark.
Well, I don't want to make this about me now. Like, I mean, I want to like make this about the people we bring in. I don't want to be the spotlight figure right now.
Well, they can guess at home. But I just wanted to see. I wanted to test you and see if you knew these minor league teams. That's all I wanted. Oh my goodness,
this is electric. I'm here for it, man. Oh goodness. I want to say this is the Fayetteville Woodpeckers. I'm not familiar with this logo, and that's the only reason I say woodpecker is because of the beak, and it kind of looks like a saw blade, the mohawk that guy's rocking right there. Goodness gracious,
some blood on it.
Good Lord, this is. I'm gonna go with the Fayetteville Woodpeckers. Oh,
You
boy.
are correct, sir. The
Really? Oh, my
Fayetteville
goodness.
Woodpeckers.
Wow. I can't tell you who they're affiliated with or what level they are, so that was a tough one.
We should do a quick search on who they're affiliated with because I don't know.
All right, here we go. All right, I'm on it. We'll check it out.
I should have wrote this stuff down along with it, but I'll have you look it up. Oh man, I keep getting your points wrong. That's 2 points.
Oh, good grief.
So you're at 6.
All right, they are the single A affiliate of the Astros. Located in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I will come clean. I thought it was like Fayetteville, Arkansas, but then I realized that's like the Northwest Arkansas Travelers. I did not know they were in North Carolina.
Said I'll come clean. I didn't know what state they were in.
Oh dear. All right. I'm actually kind of nervous. I don't like admitting this.
No, you're perfect so far. There's some easier ones in there too. I thought that one was gonna get you for sure.
Yeah, that's a tough one. This is the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs.
Yeah,
that's a pretty iron pig right there. AAA of the Phillies. I can't tell you where they are other than Lehigh Valley. Oh,
can we get a,
I'm
can
pretty
we get a
sure
state
it
check?
is. I don't know if they're the AA or the AAA because I know the Reading Fightin' Phils are in there. I'm pretty sure this is AAA and the what's not Pacific Coast League, International League.
Can we get a state check?
I want to say Philadelphia.
I didn't know this was going to be so easy. I should have put together. You got to tell me what state they're in.
Good. Allentown, Pennsylvania. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. They play at Coca-Cola Park. I think there's another Coca-Cola Park in Texas. So Lehigh is AAA. Okay. Look at that, man. You know, I will come clean, admitted bias here. When I worked for the Arizona Fall League, I put a lot of the media guide details together, and this is 90% of what I've learned has just been researching players from all over the place. So, and I like the hats too. I think the hats are fascinating. Oh, this is the Quad Cities River Bandit?
Yes, sir, it is.
Davenport, Iowa? Oh, the Iowa guy. Yeah, you know this one. I was going to say, yeah, I've had to know there was something going to be close by where you were. Gorgeous park, too. It's right next to a river, and it's got a nice little bridge right next to it. Shout out, Kyle Kercheval was the play-by-play announcer for them for quite a while. He went to my high school. Fun fact.
There you go.
And when the Field of Dreams game happened between the Reds and the Cubs, I don't remember what the two teams were, but I know one of them was Quad Cities. They played in Dyersville at the Field of Dreams, and they went as the Davenport Grays, I believe. So that was the previous rendition before they changed. I don't know if there's more renditions than that or not, but that was pretty cool. All biased because I know the announcer from my high school, so shout out to that guy.
So you're 5 for 5. You only need 3 more to get the over.
No, the Fresno Grizzlies. Oh, this is an interesting one. That's a great logo. That's a great hat. No, this is a Rockies affiliate. It's low A, and they used to be a AAA affiliate. I believe they're with the Giants for a little while. I know there was some realignment just in that area of AAA. But no, that's a good looking hat. And I know former teammate Isaac Collins was a Fresno Grizzly for a while, and their Copa team is the Fresno Lowriders. That's another one. That's pretty good.
Fresno Lowriders.
That's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, they were people in that league in Modesto.
Yeah,
would always tell me how Fresno was their favorite place to go because the stadium was the nicest because it used to be a club.
That's a tough story too, and this was part of the COVID cuts. Fresno actually, I mean, being a AAA designated team. And then post-COVID, it was they were in a really weird area of, it was pretty much they were forced to either accept a high A or a low A reassignment or lose their affiliation altogether, which, I mean, it was just kind of heartbreaking, but this is another difficult territory of how regionally located so many of the minor league operations are. Like high A is the Northwest, low A is California. The Texas League is a lot of AA teams, and they group them together. It's not like an equal mix of major league teams across the country. Like you're only going to see certain levels in a very confined area just to control travel. So Fresno drew the extreme short straw post-COVID. So I do feel for him, but I do think it's pretty cool for those players in low A to be able to play in a venue like that. Like Chukchansky Park or something? I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's kind of what it is.
I don't know, but I know that it's a nice park. It's for sure.
This is the Fighting Rehab Assignment Clayton Kershaw's, the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. I think it's the only reason I know this one. Rancho Cucamonga Quakes.
Fighting Rehab Assignment Clayton Kershaw's.
Oh man, I want to say their park's over by like the Ontario airport in California. I'm so flattered you put this together for me, by the way. Like, I am honored. This is really freaking cool for you, boy, right here, man.
Fighting Rehab Assignment Clayton Kershaw's.
That's what I thought. There you go. Oh dear. All right, so I have 2 more or 3 more.
I don't know. I haven't been keeping track.
Oh,
I know
boy.
you just kind of hit this one to get it over with, or to get. I would say that if you bet yourself that you were gonna get 16, that's a low bet.
Yeah, I'm honored.
When I was going through them and picking them, I tried to pick the ones that were more classic, that like people would know.
Yeah,
And that have been around for at least a little bit, maybe. There's some new ones with that like rebranded that I was like, I don't think I'll get that one. But now I feel like I should have put only those in there.
This is some interesting business. I mean, I'm flattered too because it's harder to keep track with the current ones. Like, I mean, the Rocket City Trash Pandas is a very it's very identifiable for that. These are not the Rocket City Trash Pandas, by the way. I'm just thinking of like, if you see the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, well, you can just create it by association because their name created a buzz and their logo files suit, even though it's a new team. This one, I almost instinctively said the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, but they're in the Atlantic League.
I have 2 clues for this one.
I think I might be able to get it on my own, honestly. I don't know if this is... There's the Jersey Shore Blue Claws, or there's the Wilmington Blue Rocks. And I want to say the Blue Rocks have a crab for some reason, but I don't even know if the Jersey Shore Blue Claws is a team. You know it too. That's the tough part. Is you can't. That sounds so like Jersey City or something. I'm just gonna go Jersey Shore Blue Claws, and if any one of those 4 words are incorrect, I'm not gonna allow myself to get the points.
Sure. Jersey Shore Blue Claws.
I don't know. All right, so this is something I'm convinced. This is really weird. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
So Jersey Shore Blue Claws used to be the, I think it was the Lake Shore Blue Claws.
Oh, okay.
And then they rebranded.
Yeah.
2021 to the Jersey Shore Blue Claws and changed their logo. It used to be like I don't even know how to describe it. It was a different version. It was a different version of the blue crab.
Oh, damn it. That's impressive. You know, honestly, too, I was thinking about this, and this is something our viewers do not need to care about this at all. But, like, my subconscious mind of, like, I don't remember ever consciously picking this up. Like, I think I literally just, like, in passing, I heard it or I was scrolling through something and, like, I was looking at a spreadsheet or a list of teams or, like, some weird box score. Like, I do not consciously remember ever seeing that team name, but for some reason I know the name. Like, this is just weird.
Can we take a second to each guess who they're affiliated with? Because I don't know.
I have actually no idea. Jersey, I want to say like the Mets, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Orioles.
I can confirm it is not the Orioles.
The Orioles is Delmarva.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, there you go.
They're in the same league. Because West Virginia used to be in that league and actually pitched against...
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there you go.
The Lakeshore Blue Claws. I think that's what it was called.
Okay.
They had like big Adirondack chairs in the outfield all the way around.
Dude,
we went over to the Jersey Shore Boardwalk or whatever it was. It's not much to see, but it's...
Oh,
you're there.
The old South Atlantic League, man. There you go.
Yeah.
Dude, I respect it right there.
But what
all right, I got
this?
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Here, I'll look it up. Just, or do you want to keep guessing, or do you want to?
I'm gonna
This
say
might be just a.
I'm just gonna say it's Dodgers.
Really?
Just 'cause it looks like Dodgers. I don't know, but I don't know the low A team for the Dodgers. So.
It is. I'm sorry, single A affiliate of the Phillies, so high A.
Man, we got a lot of Phillies teams on here. I didn't even know that.
I just stuttered on single A because I didn't know whether or not to call it low A or high A. So as I'm thinking low or high, it just kept coming out as single. That was cool. Right on. Right.
All right,
There's two more
coming
Good
up on our
grief.
final two.
That is the Toledo Mud Hens, AAA affiliate of the Detroit Tigers. Fantastic park. This one, the movie Major League, the manager for Cleveland, Lou Brown, like the character that plays it, he was in the movie, he's the manager of the Toledo Mud Hens. And then it's like, he picks up the phone and he says, Tire World, and he's selling tires. It's like, how would you like to manage Cleveland this year? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is he selling
Got
tires?
a guy on the other line about some white wall.
Yeah, there you go. So I admit there's some inherent bias going on right there. I do have some family that lives in Michigan too, and I mean they're Tiger fans, so I loosely kind of understand that one. I know Spencer Torkelson was there, first overall pick. Spent a little bit of time there. I don't really have anything cool to say about Toledo. I know that their college, the Toledo Rockets, play in the Glass Bowl. There you go. I don't know what the Mudheads field is, but there's something about Toledo.
I noticed that they put the egg the hen in the
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good little logo catch. I didn't notice that until you pointed it out. They have an egg on the back of the logo. That's great.
You ready for the next one?
All right, this is it, right? Or I mean, other than the bonus. This is a California team, low A, Lake Elsinore Storm, I want to say, which is strange because this is not a very...
That's all right.
Whoa. Yeah, all right, well, I got it right at least. Wow. I went 20 out of 20? Good grief.
You can get an A++ if you get the last one. And I feel like you're going to get the last one. For sure.
Well, I don't want to storm past the... No pun intended. I don't want to storm past this good. Wow,
I don't want
that
to
was
storm
rough.
past this one.
That was rough. Well, no, the storm hats, that's their logo. Like, I mean, if you go to the other one with just the eyes, that's what they have on their hat. It always kind of creeped me out, not going to lie.
This I always thought was one of the worst logos for a hat in the whole thing. It seems like something that would be on... This seems like a travel ball team.
Yeah, that's actually true. That's like a good point.
Like a 9U or something.
As a matter of fact, I feel like I've maybe seen a 9U team wearing that.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because the 9U kids get to pick their logos, but it doesn't look very much like minor leagues.
Oh my goodness. I respect it, man. There we go.
Okay.
All right, that's good stuff. This is it. This is the bonus. This is...
You gotta know this one.
Yeah, this used to be a Rockies affiliate, and now they're in the Pioneer League. This is the Boise Hawks.
That's right.
Boise Hawks. Wow. I'm honored. This is cool. This is good stuff. That's actually a pretty sweet logo, too. I'm flattered right there, man.
Boise Hawks, the first affiliate I ever pitched against.
Really? Oh, look at you. There you go, man.
And Isaac Collins was on the other team.
That's right. There you go. Yeah, when he was with the Rockies.
He's the first person I ever faced.
Are you? Oh, I didn't know that. Are you serious?
Because it was the first team
we
played.
Your first affiliate game was against a college teammate. Oh,
yeah,
man.
Well, I actually never played a game before that. We played an exhibition game against the college summer team. But that was me and Ike's first game, and I pitched against him.
How did the at-bat go?
I don't remember. I have to look it up.
You don't remember?
No, I don't remember. You have to look it up. Look it up.
All right. I mean, I don't know how quickly I can pull up the box score. I might need the exact day.
Just go to the game log.
I can go to the game log?
Yeah, go to my page and go to the game log. But yeah, that was crazy. We came from the same college.
That's wild.
Both ended up for our first game facing each other.
Well, and that's interesting too, because how many times did you face each other in college too? That's fascinating. I'm trying to think of like the different sport parallels of how does that compare. All right, 2019 game log, June 17th, Everett at Boise. Well, you didn't give up a run.
Nice.
You posted a 0. Summary. All. Or when did you pitch? All right, Evan Johnson. Oh, you started. Oh boy. Gave up 1 hit in your pro debut. 3 innings.
It was probably
1 hit, no walks, 4 Ks.
It was probably Isaac. I think Isaac.
If it is, that actually would be cool.
I think he get a double.
All right.
I remember facing him twice.
So, box score. Leadoff hitter for the Boise Hawks was Isaac Collins. So you literally, bottom of the first, you roll into it. Isaac Collins strikes out swinging. Congratulations.
Got you, Ike.
That's pretty cool. And then the next batter, your second batter you faced was Ezekiel Tovar, and he's the starting shortstop for the Rockies now. He hit the single. Yeah. He just signed like a 7-year deal with the Rockies too.
Wow. I remember him.
So you're 1 hit.
I remember him. He was skinny little. I wonder if he's still
there. He can play. He's a baller, man. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, your first ever pro hit you gave up to is to a dude that just signed a 7-year deal. That's pretty electric, right?
Did I face Ike again in that game?
Oh, that's a good point. All right, bottom of the second. You know, this is really funny too because, all right, yeah, you did face him again. Bottom of the third, he lined out to left, so a K and a line out.
All right, we got ours. I mean, he got good contact. There you go.
I mean, that's a tasteful way of going about it. You made a college teammate start his pro career 0 for 2. How about that, man? I'm really pleased you put this in there because I was going to feel selfish as hell if that entire second half of the episode was simply about me. So I am honored that there was at least another nugget to put in there.
Yeah, that was.
Oh my goodness!
I had to throw in a team, and I was like, I can't throw in the Dirty Birds because he's gonna know that one. Because I played in West Virginia, and then when they were no longer a minor league team, they rebranded into the Dirty Birds.
Yeah, I respect it right there, man. That's some juicy business.
I'm gonna come up with another list here soon, and it's gonna be hard ones. We're talking 2024 rebrand.
Oh my goodness! Well, I want to put stuff together where it's both you and I running the tests too. Like, I mean, I like the guess the ballpark one that we put together. That was a lot of fun.
That was a good one.
I mean, yeah, if you guys haven't checked that one out, make sure rewind one episode and go back and check it out. But you know, I am flattered, dude. Thank you for putting that together. I want to just go on the record and say that production quality was 100% Evan putting it in. Well, I guess it had to be, or else I would know what the teams were. So there you go. There you go. There's your proof right there. There it is.
So he went perfect score. So if you were betting at home on the over/under, the over hit. And I'm not surprised. I thought there was going to be at least one he had to think about for longer than like 15 seconds.
The Jersey Shore one was, I'll give you that. That was pretty tough right there.
Oh, gosh, I could have picked some. There's some new rebranded teams that I was like, I don't think you get these ones for sure. But I tried to go with classic ones.
I mean, I respect the way it is right there. I mean, it's a good thing too. Like me being in Florida right now, I have a general understanding of the teams that are in Florida, but I don't like really know what they all like exactly are. I mean, I guess I have at least some degree of familiarity, but like there's some that like pretty close to where I'm living right now. I don't know if I would know, and I shouldn't admit that. Good grief. Well, there we have it, man. I mean, I'm trying to think of what other formations we could do. We've done ballparks, we've done logos. I mean, there's always player capabilities that we could tap into, but this might be good to like dissect your career. And like we'll run, I'll do like a deep dive into the players that you have faced, and guess what you did against them, or something crazy like this.
Yeah.
I'll be able to do the dive into Evan Johnson's career. And I will say this: I want to promote your efforts against Adley Rutschman in a Oregon State regional. I know you're probably too humble to admit this, but getting this dude to strike out on 3 straight pitches, like was it the day before he was taken #1 overall?
They got
If
eliminated.
it wasn't the day before, it was 2 days before.
They got eliminated in the draft was the next day while we were playing.
That's right. I remember they announced it. Yeah.
At the field we were playing at for the regional. He was in the
and we were in the home dugout too, right?
I think they were on the other side. No,
okay,
we were in that.
Might have been.
We were in that one. No, we weren't. Because we played Michigan. We were in the other one.
Yeah. I remember just hearing them announce it over the speakers, and I was just like, all right, that's if Evan doesn't get some love for that, I'm going to just go and protest somewhere.
The thing about a lot of this games, I don't remember a lot of stuff. So, like, in the moment, you don't remember.
Yeah.
After the outing, a lot of people are like, oh, how'd it go? And I'm like, I mean, I can tell you that it went good or that it went bad. But people, what'd you throw to that guy? Like, I don't really remember.
Yeah, and I mean, that's part of the joy of the game, too. I mean, like, I can't think of many things where you get so absorbed in the present moment. And I don't think it's a matter of, I mean, you have heightened awareness, but it's amazing to me to see how, like, your memory and your awareness are sometimes just, like, opposite of each other based on, I don't know if that's, like, the most accurate assumption, because maybe if you put the competitive angle into it, it's not so much the awareness versus the memory, I suppose, because like there's moments that I remember like the back of my hand where I was like proposing to my girl. I remember every ounce of that, but I mean I was aware, and I was pretty like, I mean, you're pretty amped up for something like that. But it's funny because I remember that moment, or I remember things of maybe somewhat similar capacity, but when it comes to like actually being in a game itself, like, I mean, I've faced some big leaguers and I couldn't tell you a single thing about the at-bat other than the result after I walked off the mound.
Yeah, a lot of times.
Kind of cool, I guess.
People be like, what'd you do against this teammate back in, because I faced Will too, we played with him. Like, how'd you do against Will the times you faced him? Like, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I just remember knowing that I faced him. I don't remember ever being in the spot.
There's got to be one that you just straight up remember, though? Like, is there one batter where you think to yourself, like, in your entire career, you, like, remember every ounce of something?
There was a guy who played for, I do remember there was a guy who played for Tri-Cities, and he was, like, 7 foot tall. And I just remember, like, I already knew my fastball played up in the zone, and now you got a strike zone that's taller than most people.
Yeah.
Because he's huge. So I was like, oh, okay. So every single time I face him threw 3 fastballs. Never threw anything else.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Because it's just so far out there, you can just let it loose.
Yeah, when you realize that the strike zone is taller than the press box, and you're just like, yeah, all right, here we go.
Taller than the umpire.
Jeez. I'm trying to think throughout my career. And it's funny, I don't want to relive high school glory days, but I was starting a rivalry game between like the two teams in my hometown, and the leadoff hitter for the other school, he was like my best friend growing up playing Little League. We were on the same team. Like, I hung out at his house all summer. Like, it was him and I. So he's the leadoff hitter, just a scrappy dude. Mitch Halloran, shout out to that guy. He's making a ton of money in like engineering right now. So, did anybody need to know that? Absolutely not. But no, he's the leadoff hitter, and so we're all lined up on the foul line for the national anthem. We're standing there, we're hanging out. I'm sorry, I don't know why the engineering thing just came through. Are you laughing? Is not helping this either. He is. It's just right. So, anyways, national anthem's over, and we're kind of smack talking a little bit. Mitch has a way of being very funny and like cussing under his breath, but like doing so tastefully. So we're walking back to the dugout, and I can hear him, and then he's in the on-deck circle as I'm throwing my warm-up pitches at the top of the first, and I can just sense him just with this smirking grin in the on-deck circle, and then he comes up to the plate, and he's still smirking, and I'm just like nodding my head, and then he's like talking back to me while he's at the plate. And I'm sitting here going, it was like unbelievably tasteful because we were on that level, and I remember starting a game just staring at him and just laughing before the game got started. So he just flipped one into right field, and he led the game off with a leadoff single. And I mean, he's a good ball player. So he's at first base, and as he's running down the foul line, he's still chirping at me. And then at this point, I'm starting to yell back, going, "You better be happy I'm here for 7 innings today." And then we're going back and forth. So then I found out that my mom and his mom are sitting next to each other in the stands, like the entire game too. And then it's just, apparently they were doing the same thing in the stands to each other that him and I were doing on the field. So I don't want to say that's one of the more memorable at-bats of my career, because of course you go on to more things, but I think sometimes the at-bats you remember the most are the ones that are against people you know. Unless it's Isaac Collins to start a pro career, in which case maybe we don't even know what the result is going to be.
I think I remembered that I got him for sure. But
that's good.
But anytime you face somebody that you know, it's on a different team, it's always fun because there's always like some looks going on and just smiling.
Yeah.
Like, there's never any like mean like, oh, I'm gonna punch you out or something.
Yeah, there's always a degree of mutual
if you don't know
respect.
baseball terms, by that I mean strikeout, not like actually.
You know, I will give. Yeah, we got to clarify. Not actually physical. There you go. It's amazing the nuance that exists within the game that you just never really know. It's interesting too. I mean, I was just thinking about when you do compete against other people, but the other side note of your pro debut. Like, I can imagine you're a little bit more fixated on other things other than the personal relationships that are on the other dugout at that point. So, like, I can definitely see the classification of, yes, I played college ball with this guy, but we're now in a pro setting. I'm not here to just face him. This is my first time ever really doing something in a pro setting. So, like, I could wholeheartedly understand that there's a lot more under the surface as opposed to, you know, me on my high school field. I'd been there since I was like 14, and that's just another day at the office at that point. But, you know, that's amazing to recognize how much of the variance of your own personal memory can really depend on just the immediacy of where you are and what you're up against, too.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot pitching. Like, when I'm pitching, I don't remember a lot. Jeez. It's the times when I don't remember anything at all that I know I did good.
That's true. That's actually
I remember a lot.
As backwards as it is.
If I remember a lot and I remember what I was thinking about and I was thinking about a lot, then it probably wasn't very good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
Well,
the only thing I remember from Oregon State was listening to the wind. That was it.
In the trees? Yeah, there you go.
That's all I listened to.
Oh, my goodness. I remember every ounce of it. I remember your outings better than my own outings now that I think about it. That's not me trying to score points with you. It's just in that same context of you get so consumed in the present moment, and now all of a sudden you're like, yeah, this is my guy. Like, yep. I mean, I could actually enjoy it when you were throwing. There you go. You know, this is something interesting, and I will kind of put this out there for any like younger players that are there. And I think this is a very good, important message to note is that keep a notebook. Like, write things down. Make sure that you're checking out. I mean, it's very difficult to remember these types of things, but, you know, ask yourself very pointed questions when you're done with an outing of, how did this feel coming out of the hand? Did I feel prepared? Did I feel confident going into my first pitch of the day? And, you know, recognizing that these are things that you can start to draw more patterns off of. I know we started this episode talking about the sample sizes of statistics are starting to get a little bit more comprehensive. But if you can get a pretty good sample size of notes on how you operate, how you feel that you're at your best, I feel like that's an invaluable piece of information to have. And, you know, I encourage everybody to make that work. Evan, I'm sure I know that you're definitely on board with a similar process when you take the mound too. Yeah.
Yeah. Write it down if it helps you. If at some point I was writing everything down and I realized.
Yeah, I've been there too. Yeah, that's a good point.
And I realized that a lot of times it wasn't about what I wrote down. It was about the fact that I just wrote to understand, to like kind of make sure my thoughts are streamlined, let it go somewhere. So a lot of times if I would just sit down and open up a notebook and just start writing what I was thinking about an outing or about pitching or about anything, and then just close it. I would never read it. I would just just write and then just write to think and then just close it. So you can either write to think or you can just write to write. But it's important to be able to organize your thoughts, because the game moves fast when you have a lot of them.
You know, no matter the preferred method, it's always good to make sure that you're looking out for yourself and you're taking care of yourself and you're making yourself a better person by following whatever processes it is that you follow. And hopefully that process includes tuning into your favorite show, The Night Pitch. At least I hope it's your favorite show. that's the diligent effort that we're going to continue to set forth. Again, welcome back to another live season. We've got live games cooking up. We've got episodes coming back your way. Evan, my friend, thanks for making it happen once again.
Yeah, you bet. I love it.
We will keep powering through out here as long as you guys keep being tremendous people out there, out in the world. This has been episode 18 of The Night Pitch. We will see you next time.